Hello, this is Piggly reversing. Yeah, hello, good morning. Hope you're having a great day wherever you are. Some major bumps around here. It's like a giant pothole. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about is the matrix and some theory work I've developed around it. So yeah, don't worry, I'm just now flying along. It's a lot easier. Yeah, basically, I was thinking about the matrix yesterday and about the constructs we live in, and the first part of my thinking was, well, I believe that possibly this planet is the generator for time, and basically the planet creates time as a kind of perception construct, in the same way that we build memories or we create our kind of reality. Otherwise we would be a kind of dysfunctional, if we had no sort of structure to what we were. You know, you wouldn't be able to tell if you're coming and going and all that sort of stuff. So basically, outside and beyond the recess of the planet, time works differently, and because they've had with astronauts, for example, when they've been further away from the planet. Now, I mean, there's always the debate what is space, and also how far has an astronaut, that's a tongue twister, how far has an actual astronaut travelled away from the Earth, and I mean, is the moon still in that kind of orbit of our planet? You know, just because the density is different doesn't necessarily mean that still not a part of the planet, in the same way that we have like an auric field, and that's going to be at least over twice the size of your actual physical body, or the perception of what is physical, your sort of hard density energy body, so basically that could be fall into that domain, sort of the constructs of this seven heaven stuff. It is basically just like different layers of the system. So you've got a different layers that are laid out in the planet. It's a lot of this stuff to do with spheres and things that have been mentioned before in sort of different texts. So I'm not sure exactly what the planet is, and I won't sort of over debate, you know, if it's hollow, if it's solid, if it's flat, because it's not really knowing what it is, and if it's just a type of level of perception connected to yourselves, like your consciousness and your understanding, and how that reaches out and forms your reality, and also how much you can influence it as well. So I know haphazardly I've explained a little bit about the time, and that's just simply because I'm concentrating on the road and it's stopping every 5 minutes at the lights and things. So the planet sets the motion, the time, and outside of the planet is a void. So the void of space is the quantum field, which runs for everything. It's just like the blank canvas, but this canvas is completely black, and then things just added to it. And has been seen as evil or Eve's veil, or just the illusion of something. Or the electric veil, that can be also a thing, because it's in that sort of spectrum that falls into the electromagnetic spectrum. And so basically that's what it's perceived as sort of like a constraint, so that's why it's considered darker in nature. So yes, that's what it's considered evil. And then you've got the other part of the construct, the history of the planet. Now I know people keep rewriting the history, but maybe the history is just like a backstory. It's like a, you know, you might actually, this matrix might be as old as you are, and that you've just been uploaded to this avatar, and this history of the story's been put in there. Some of the people in your life, like the characters, may actually not be real. They may be like some other form of simulations. I mean, some of them are like doppelgangers, so they might actually be a simulation from the same consciousness, so that's even weirder. Even though you think you're quite individual, you may be actually just a strand of an entity, and this entity is quite big, and like I say, it would be massive, you'd imagine, in sort of in its size, like the size of a planet, the level of consciousness it would have in it. And so you're playing out these different avatars, and then when you die, this information avatar gets uploaded. It's like into Akashic records, and maybe into the actual consciousness of this other divine being that you're a part of. Now we aren't all the same. I mean, maybe the source does all link up into one mainframe, or it's more complicated, and actually it's a number of different like servers, you can imagine. So you might apply that theory to it, and so that's why there's rivalry. But at some point they probably will link up to some other divine source, like the Mother of God, or whatever you might be called. The creature that birthed the multiverse, or I mean, if that exists, it might just be a multi-dimensional overlay onto this planet, and it's kind of like reflected into other places. I mean, we know there's a number of galaxies, but we're not too sure how it all works. They talk about dark matter, and to me, there's just kind of like negative and there's positive light, and I don't see this thing. They do. They talk about explosions and stuff, and they're the ones that caused it by blowing up atoms. It's not necessarily the reverse way round. So I'm not too sure on the science around it. I mean, somebody did try to debate it, saying, well, you don't believe in the reversibility of the electron. What I don't believe in is that everything you see is everything there is, and I've been told that 50% of what can't be perceived by science exists. So this quantum field exists outside of that. So a reverse spin electron is basically some type of magnetron. It's a magnetic thing, because that's the opposite end of the spectrum if you're looking at polarity and stuff like that. But when it comes back to my matrix, as I'm sort of drifting a little bit, as you can see, I'm sort of drawing directly off a source, another higher part of myself. That's why I'm sort of talking in a different pattern while driving. I've actually fragmented my psyche slightly while doing this. So basically, you are an avatar. Your history is sort of written into you as a back program. So I guess so you don't reject your body. So you think, well, I lived here before, I'm part of this family, unity and connection. It sort of breeds, and then also there's sort of strife and division and challenge, and to overcome these challenges. So that's a part of that, and there's also this kind of thing that basically, so your history's been rewritten. I've mentioned that. Time has been rewritten, and when you go to sleep, it's like almost this reset of consciousness. I've taken some ORMUS last night, and I'm aware that I had quite strong dreams, but I don't recall them. I just recall like little fragments. They're all been filed in my mind. I only remembered something this morning, and that was because I woke up, drifted off again, and I woke up again. So the dream wasn't complete. So maybe once you complete a dream properly, you archive it. So it's very strange to have vivid dreams that you basically chose to forget about, and maybe they weren't that different experience. So it's interesting, why would the brain do these things in the first place? And there's also the fact that they don't want to admit that the brain does regenerate in the hippocampus and Magdalenium. So I'm getting this information from Magdalenium. Okay, which is nearly a third eye. That's what I'm being told. So yeah, basically you produce about 600 neurons a day. You do have like X about billion, which all suffer from aging, and slowly will degrade, but there's probably a way to increase the number of production being produced in your brain, and also protect the ones you've got, so therefore you will have quite an active, effective use of your brain. And remember, you only need about 5% or 10% of your brain to actually function. The rest is sort of a holographic overlay, and operates in different systems. So that's where that comes from, that bit of knowledge. So there's living with the concept of basically your reality is being rebooted every time you wake up, and your history doesn't really exist. Possibly things, people around you, some of them don't exist, or they're in some type of influx that's outside of your sort of dimension. I mean, even matter and the way it vibrates. I mean, the vibrational frequency is set up via the sun, and this matter interacts, this consciousness interacts with this portal of energy in relation to the sun, and as a result creates the physical dimension of your space, time, matter. Outside of that, there is also in the void, there is other materials, and these vibrate at different frequencies, so therefore they exist in what you perceive as an influx. However, they are the dark matter, solar systems and universes by your perception, but actually they're just in a different electromagnetic frequency range that's less measurable by your own instruments on Earth. So there we go. Wow, so that's quite good. Look at that. That was like channeling off the pure source there. I think that was probably my previous life. I was like a pilot and science officer and stuff, and I was some sort of a reptilian type classification of being, basically, before I come to Earth. Or it's a sum of all this sort of consciousness wound in together. Anyway, I hope that was useful. So basically I'm saying there's a lot more to the Matrix. I think this Mandela effect and everything, people getting in more into it now, they're starting to see that there's a kind of, what is it all about? You know, it's the end game, that's what it's about, we're coming to. And where you qualify to go up a level, and people are obsessed by a vibrational frequency, but they've got to understand that frequency is a range, and therefore the greater the range, the greater the influence of power you have over your own reality. So, you know, it's a bit like someone singing in a high voice, doesn't necessarily mean make a great song. So there's this point of where people are becoming more aware, and they have the point of qualifying. Now, some people choose, they'd like to bury their head under the cover and go back into this other world, you know, and just pretend this is all it is. I can't deal with this idea of reality. I don't want to think that maybe I'm torturing myself or creating my own suffering. That, in essence, was going to be a short-term thing, but I decided to have it create another parallel matrix within it to torture myself even further. And what fun that was. So anyway, I'm going to sign off now, but it's lovely to talk to you, and speak to you soon.